Welcome back. The material covered in this section discusses defining, designing, and developing your website. Step 1 considers research, audience, site architecture, and gathering of content. Research websites that have relevant content or the same audience as your idea. Write down what is working well on these sites or what is not. Is there color used in many areas, or is it sparse? Is the audience clear or vague? How do they organize the navigation, color, typefaces, images, and content? What do you like? Print the websites out and have them on hand in visual form for quick reference. Through doing your research, you will begin to define your audience. While the services or content you are providing may influence how the website looks, the audience is not always the general public. If you are providing content only, then what is the personality of that content? Is it humorous and lighthearted, scientific, or medical? Having this information resolved in advance will aid in ascribing images, color, and type to the characteristics you define. The website architecture refers to how the site is organized. Typically, most sites start with a home page and have sections like About Us and Content pages. Draw a diagram of how all the pages are organized and linked. This will also help with organizing the navigation and what goes first, second, and third, and how a user might find the information. In addition, the site architecture will help identify what kinds of content are needed, what you might already have, and what new material needs to be written or acquired. This site architecture can simply be a sketch or a hand-drawn diagram. The site architecture will inform the pages you will be creating. Imagine that each page is a compilation of images, text, and files. Organize each page will correspond with corresponding images, text, and files to be used on that page. I use the word file here because some of your pages might have actual files that are not visible but rather will be downloaded for viewing. All pages and their corresponding files will eventually go on what is called a server in the form of HTML files for the public to access from their computer. The second step is to design your website. In this section, we look at color, typography, and how images might be used. The first step is to sketch your ideas. Before ever starting to work with computer software, have your ideas in place. Nothing can replace a pencil and paper to solidify ideas, and it will save time when finally implementing on the computer, regardless of one's experience with software. Start with a home page. Draw the outline of the various parts of the site. Draw the header at the top, which contains primary information such as a logo or name. The navigation to the left will contain all the links to various sections of the site. The center area is where main content for the site will be provided. In your initial sketch, decide if the site will be left justified, meaning all the way to the left, or center justified, meaning equal space on the left and right. Most sites have a width of what is called 800 pixels. Notice on the sites you visited for reference which ones were left or center justified and how much of the computer screen area they took up on your browser. Keeping your site to 800 pixel width will organize content and keep the text in a readable line length visible on most computers. The optimal line length is 9 to 10 words per line. One area of the site that can lead the design is the heading. We often see logos, images, or a company name in this area. If you have a logo, name, graphic image, or other visual elements that you think defines the site content and mission, then you should consider using it in a prominent location. The second step is to fill in the various areas with more detail. For the purposes of this discussion, the placement of each area is in what might be termed a typical location. This does not exclude you from exploring a less conventional placement for the navigation on the right side of the page, for example. When thinking about layout, consider the discussions in Section 2 and use design tools such as contrast and scale of type and images to create interest on the page. A grid system, or what may be termed a template, is what you can use to keep content consistently placed from page to page and served as a guide for the design process. As discussed in Section 2, the typeface will help define the personality of the site. For your first website, consider using a typeface that is standard with most computers and is designed for online display. 2 or more of these typefaces should come with your computer and thus be able to be displayed on most other computers. Verdana was specifically designed as a typeface for website use because of its legibility at small sizes on computer screens. Using 1 or 2 typefaces is sufficient for most sites. Each typeface has a bold, italic, and regular, and can be used at various sizes for headers and body text, so the range of variation can be extensive with just 2 typefaces. Using color can also add contrast and define hierarchy. The text on websites is either HTML text, which is text-based and is used for most text areas. The other is image text, which is made up of pixel images and used mostly where a distinctive typeface is being used. You can select a unique typeface for areas that will only be used as image text, such as a logo. Explore colors that match the feel of your site, like warm or cold, serious or fun. If you are doing a site about trees, earth, plants, or organic produce, then greens and earth tones might be relevant. If the topic is more conceptual and text-based, stick to neutral colors. This can be highly subjective, but in many cases there are visual references in your research that can be looked at for inspiration. Use colors selectively for headings of text or to highlight key areas of content. You can sketch text out as lines and designate colors to each in order to understand how a system for headings might work. Images can be used to support text information, instruct the viewer, or add texture and visual interest to a website. All images should be saved in RGB mode, the format used by computers to read colors and images. The third step is to build and deploy the site. This will involve your domain name, hosting, HTML, and considering how involved you would like to be in building the site with some software programs that are available. Once you have completed the sketches for at least 5 to 10 of the pages, it is time to consider how to build it. A standard imaging editing software is Adobe Photoshop. This software will allow you to make shapes, choose colors, crop images, type content, and save the image files for the website. HTML is a set of tags that are inserted around the content in your image, text, and files to tell the browser how to display your files. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. While this can be done with a standard text editor, such as Microsoft Word, there are HTML editor programs that allow you to create web pages and manage websites without a strong knowledge of HTML. Some popular HTML editors are Macromedia Dreamweaver, Adobe Go Live, and Microsoft FrontPage. These programs provide a visual system to develop a web page, import images, create links, add color, and set type. There are many other HTML editors on the market, and even many desktop publishing software will allow you to save the files as HTML. In addition, there are many online services that will allow you to build the site through your internet browser in what is called a what you see is what you get method. All take time and patience and will require you to think through the design steps I have outlined in the previous sections. Regardless of your technical comfort, knowing what you want and articulating that through rough sketches will make the actual building of the website much faster. While you might consider a free online template service, you are still given options that will allow you to edit the design of the website. Even blogs and other free media should be looked at and edited with a critical design eye. A domain name is the name of your website, like mywebsite.com. You can go to register.com to search for a name that is available. Not all names are available, and more common names are likely to have already been purchased. Making a list of names and then checking availability is critical. Do not come up with a name for your site, use it in your design, and then find out is not available. If the name is unique and is available and you are fairly certain you will use it for some time, then paying for the registration is advantageous. Even registering your own name is advantageous for many reasons. Hosting refers to where your website will be located. The hosting company will provide you with instructions for transferring your files electronically to their servers. A server is much like a computer, only it's set up to hold many files and be accessible by the public. Many times, hosting companies can also register your website name, so do a little shopping around. For most people, even small businesses, the basic package is sufficient for a website. Cost for hosting can range from $5 to $15 a month, depending on the features you need. Once your files are on the hosting company server, the public will be able to view your files from their computer by typing your address. This presentation has been an introduction to basic design and designing a website. The following are some references to consider for further information on designing and building your site. They provide greater in-depth information to the content in this course. Thank you for participating.